Hey, Shalom Akim. First and foremost, thank you all, praise and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachak with us. The honors under the elders, apostles of the Great Millstone. The elders, Great Millstone, inner course. Peace and blessings under the hopeful elect. The sincere servants of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, serving him in truth and sincerity. Yes, so we're coming back with another lesson through spirit. This lesson will be based off of this article right here, which reads, 12 U.S. nuclear stealth bombers are ready to strike anywhere, anytime. And yeah, as you can see, you have the B-2 Spirit aircraft, which, yeah, obviously they use it, again, as it says right here, nuclear stealth bombers. So, yeah, when you read this article, you basically get the feeling that, whoever wrote this is like, hey, you got to consider what the U.S. has, even though these other countries have, they're upgrading in their nuclear arsenal and they're improving in their military. And, basically their weapons. Well, this author, what I'm getting out of it is that he's like, hey, don't forget what the U.S. has, America has, to defend against, these different countries, which, hey, to get into this article, it says, amid escalating tensions in the Middle East, the U.S. has marshaled nearly its entire fleet of nuclear stealth bombers in a striking display of military might. B-2 Spirits, reserved for the most critical missions, stand ready to deploy a global strike at a moment's notice, according to warnings from the U.S. Air Force. Yeah, so basically you're going to have people who are like, oh, America is, hey, once America steps in, it's over. America can end any conflict. As soon as America sends their arsenal, hey, things are back to peace. That's people still have the same mindset as if it's Japan versus the United States all over again. As we know, after the U.S. sent the bombs to Japan, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but Japan surrendered, and then Americans been proud ever since. But hey, bro, we're now living in a different time. The Lord's putting the Spirit on these other nations to completely upgrade in their arsenal, not only upgrade in their nuclear arsenal, but to also disband America, from the alliance that they have, and to make an alliance with one another, these other nations. That's why you have BRICS formed already. So hey, we're clearly at that time where, again, World War III will happen. But this time, hey, things will not look good for America. And as the scriptures say, it won't, it's not going to end well for America. So it says, this guy is going to keep on going into it. The author said, renowned for the capability to carry both conventional and nuclear payloads. These formidable aircraft soar at speeds up to 1,000 kilometers per hour, or 621 miles per hour. It says, boasting an unparalleled ability to evade radar detection. As the world's most expensive aircraft, each B-2 Spirit is estimated to cost 1.6 billion or euros or 2 billion USD. It says, embodying cutting-edge technology and strategic prowess. With an impressive unfueled range of 6,000 miles, these dual pilot jets are meticulously designed for intercontinental operations. Against a backdrop of high intentions exemplified by Israel's vow of a robust response to Iran's recent aerial assault, the U.S. conducted rigorous testing of its stealth bombers. Yeah, and it goes on to say, a squadron of 12 B-2 Spirits out of a total fleet of 20 participated in a rare and imposing elephant walk and flight demonstration as part of the Spirit vigilance training exercise. This intensive training regimen aims to enhance the readiness of air crews for stealth bomber missions, showcasing synchronized taxiing and minimal interval takeoffs. Yeah, and this guy will, and that's what a lot of these Americans will do. They'll constantly glorifying the weaponry and the army and the basically the military that America has, without considering what these other nations have within their arsenal. I mean, you got the two other biggest nations, Russia and China. They're making an alliance with one another. And we see, if you look up the China-Russia military, man, and you combine that, without a doubt, it's already greater than America's. If I'm not mistaken, this is kind of a few years back, but hey, things have changed even, a few years back, since a few years back. I'm talking maybe 2020, 2021. They ran a simulation to see how America fare against Russia and China's military, and America got destroyed after they ran that simulation. And we didn't even have to predict, look at, okay, let's go ahead and see what Russia has within their military, China has within the military. Hey, we can simply just look to the scriptures, and the scriptures will give us the answer. The Holy Bible will give us the answer about who will lose, which country will be destroyed completely by nuclear fire. Let's go ahead and get it. So let's start it off. This is Habakkuk chapter 2:1. It says, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. It says, and the Lord Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're writing the vision, meaning we're prophesying this word and preaching the word unto the world, starting with really redirect this gospel onto our people, the Israelites, being the so-called Negroes, Native Americans, Latinos, and as well you have our people scattered amongst these other nations. But they're going to come back. The Israelite foreigners, they're going to come back for the ones who the Lord has sealed, who has given the ears to hear. So it says that he may run that readeth him, warning the people to repent back unto the Lord, so that they're not destroyed by this upcoming destruction, especially for our people within America. We preach unto our people so that they repent, so that they're not just caught up within this nuclear destruction that's to come to Babylon Great. It says, verse 3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak, and not lie, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Yeah, and this will come. Everything that's written within the Bible, it will come to pass. And the Bible speaks about World War III, that will come to pass. The Bible speaks about many things. And there's some prophecies that haven't happened yet. And it says, and though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. People think that just because these things haven't happened yet, it's never going to happen. Which clearly, man, hey, the scriptures say how we are in that season. These things will pop up at any moment. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean that's not going to happen. How many things, these people thought that wasn't going to happen, and then it happened. But that pestilence that passed, that started, at the end of 2019, beginning 2020 within America, that's when it started. The lockdowns came and stuff. Hey, nobody expected that to come, man. But it came. Same thing with all the prophecies that's run within this book, man, that haven't happened yet, it's going to come to pass. It won't tarry. And these things are right around the corner. We're in those times where Yahushua spoke about the end times. So it says, verse 4, Habakkuk chapter 2:4, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Yeah, and we already know how the Edomites, their soul is not upright in them. Edomites, being the so-called white man, our oppressors, he's the most wicked person on the planet Earth. And when I say so-called white people, I'm not referring to all people with the color or, the leprous skin. People who don't have pigmentation. People who don't have pigment. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying anybody who's an Edomite, which the majority of Edomites have that appearance, what, their souls now are lifted up upright in them. Why? Because the Lord designed them to go off. The Edomites, we're going back to Esau, Jacob's brother, Isaac's son, who gave up his birthright for some uncooked meat, because he was hungry, so he gave up his whole entire birthright versus eternal, which was really, he gave up his birthright, which was to eternally be a ruler over all the nations and that had the kingdom of heaven. He gave that up, and he got the temporal blessing, which was to how to do a heaven, the fatness of the earth, meaning a vast amount of resources and wealth upon the planet Earth, as well as he received the gift, the blessing to rule the earth with a sword, the Edomites. And that's what they have exactly been doing. They got to do a heaven, the fatness of the earth through the sword. So by robbing, by stealing, by killing, by raping, by overtaking nations, by setting up propaganda so that they can raid these other nations, have a reason. They present a reason by the way of propaganda, and they set up these different events so that they're able to raid these other nations and take them and drain them of their resources and overtake them. That's what they do. So their souls is not lifted upright in them. It says, verse 5, yeah, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell and as death. It cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Yeah, and there you have it, man. And that's exactly what Esau does. Starting with America, because as we know, America is not just only Edomite nation. You have Russia, you have Ukraine, you have these different European nations. But the top of the Edomites currently, the top Edomite land currently is in America. And what have they been doing? They have been heaping on themselves all people, who enlargeth his desire as hell and as death, meaning that he goes around these other nations, plagues them. America goes amongst these other nations and plagues them of their philosophies, implementing their ways into America. Yeah, it says it cannot be satisfied. So that's what America does, man. They put their influence within these other nations. Not only that, they bombing and just sending troops to overtake these other countries, man. That's what they do. It says, verse 6, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long at the him that ladeth himself with thick clay meaning debt, going back to the Hebrew word abayat. How long you think America is gonna go, being basically being basically that country, that wicked country amongst these other nations. Which, yeah, America is, or these other countries are wicked too. But hey, America, they can't go long, having all this debt, constantly stirring up trouble in the earth. Hey, they don't have too long. It says, shall they not rise up suddenly, and shall bite thee, and awake, that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be booties. It says, and thou shalt be for booties under them. Booties meaning, of course, treasure. Yeah, so meaning, hey, these Americans think that Americans can just go this long without being touched, you're stirring up all this trouble, starting up all these conflicts in the world, and constantly just, hey, America only has but so long, man. It says, verse 8, because thou hast spoiled many nations, and all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, and of the city, and of all that dwell therein. Yeah, see, America has spoiled many nations. So it's only so long until America receives its payback. Yeah, and to go back to this article, it says a squadron of 12 B2. Well, read that one already. Skipping down. Yeah, so basically, the article just going into the amazing technology of the B2 Spirit and stuff, and yeah. Yeah, and of course he goes into the history of the B2 Spirit and the things that it has done and its achievements. And hey, man, nothing that America can prepare is going to stop them from being destroyed by these other nations. Getting real quick, Jeremiah chapter 50 and 8, that says, remove out of the midst of Babylon and go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans and be as the he-goats before the flocks. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country. And by the way, Babylon is speaking about the modern day Babylon. This Babylon right here is speaking about modern day Babylon, which is America. It's not referring on to the ancient Babylonian Empire, the ancient Babylon. With Jeremiah's time, it was the Neo-Babylonian Empire. It's not referring on to that, man. It's referring on to the modern day Babylon. Because, looking at the ancient location, or the ancient Babylon location, which is right now in modern day Iraq, you'll find the location of ancient Babylon there. You'll see how it's a mix of greenery and desert. So there's still some there's still greenery there. There's plants there and stuff, and it's not a complete desert because we know there's some desert regions within Iraq, but the scriptures say how the entire Babylon land will become a desert after that nuclear destruction that will take place upon it. So that hasn't happened to ancient Babylon. That will happen to the modern day Babylon. Everybody thinks that, or you have a lot of people who think that every prophecy within the Old Testament has been fulfilled. That's completely false. You still have prophecies waiting to be fulfilled that's within the Old Testament. This being one of them, Jeremiah chapter 50 and 9. It says, for lo, I'll raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. The arrow shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. Yeah, and an assembly of great nations from the north country. First of all, the north country is Russia. As we know, that country is, Russia is known as that country from the north. Literally, when you look at its location, that's obvious. But it says an assembly of great nations from the north country, and that assembly of great nations is a Russian Federation. They're all going to come up against Babylon and Great. And as well, all these other nations, again, you have BRICS formed, and you have all these other nations joining BRICS and making an alliance with the BRICS. It says, and they shall set themselves in array against her. Yeah, an array. America being completely surrounded by what? It says, from thence she shall be taken. Their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. Yeah, and their arrows, meaning, as we know, arrows are, obviously weapons that they were shooting back then in the ancient times. These arrows right here are symbolic onto the nuclear missiles. Again, the prophets were going to use the best terms that they had back then to describe these different visions and the prophecies that were being revealed onto them. They couldn't say, oh, and then I saw an ICBM nuclear missile approach the land of Babylon. No, they didn't have those terms back then. They're going to say arrow. Apostle John gives his own description about, he gave his best description within Revelation chapter 9. Now these things are being broken down, of course, how they're supposed to be broken down, in the, basically the Lord had it broken down in a figurative way. So not everybody will receive it. And so that the prophets of this time can break it down completely. So those arrows will be the nuclear missiles that they're gonna shoot upon, or that they will use to shoot upon Babylon and Great. It says the arrows shall be as of a mighty excrement, none shall return in vain. So tell me, what the hell is 12 U.S. nuclear stealth bombers, B-2 Spears? What's that gonna do when every country is against you, that they take you down with their nuclear arsenal? It's not going to do anything. Yeah, America might hit some targets, but hey, America is going to lose completely. They're going to lose to the point where, hey, America becomes a complete desert after that long period of that, nuclear fire, that burning that's going to go through. It's going to become a desert. Scriptures say how this place will become uninhabited. Revelation 18:1, it says, and after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened in his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean bird, or unclean and hateful bird. For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Yeah, we know how these other nations, these other countries, use America to get rich, to obtain their wealth. They made deals with America and constantly selling and trading with America and implementing America's ways within their own societies. But you know how America constantly exploits the people. You have a lot of these other nations, they followed suit. So they drank the wine of Babylon and Great and used it, of course, for their own advantage. But these other nations will get tired of America. It says, verse 4, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High hath remembered her iniquities. Yeah, all the iniquities that America has caused. Esau running America. Don't think that America is just his own entity. Esau is the one who's making all these things, man. You have Edomite Americans, you got Edomite Russians, you got these Edomite European Edomites, these different European nations. They're coming up against one another. Scriptures say how Satan shall divide, or Satan shall rise up against Satan. Basically paraphrasing, Egyptian shall rise up against Egyptian. And if a nation comes up against, or if the same people come up against another people, that the house will not stand. So it says, verse 6, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her according to her works, in the cup which she hath filled her double. So America is going to receive a double portion compared to what they have done unto the earth, what they have done unto the Lord's people. Because what Esau, he used America as what we already know how slavery occurred here. He brought the so-called Negroes, the southern kingdom of the nation of Israel, from West Africa, as we know our people fled from Israel during 70 AD to escape the Roman persecution, and they fled onto Africa, West Africa, the majority of them. And Esau also came here to the Americas to take down the northern kingdom of the nation of Israel, being the so-called Native Americans, Latinos. They escaped the Assyrian captivity. You can read that in 2 Ezra chapter 13 or 40. They escaped the Assyrian captivity and went onto a land where mankind never dwelt. That being America. Nobody was here until the Native Americans and Latinos, or so-called Native Americans and Latinos being the Northern Kingdom, got here. Verse 7, it says, Revelation chapter 18:7, how much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously, and so much torment and sorrow give her, for she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. That's the mindset of these Americans, man. Their mindset, or that's America's mindset as a whole, but again, that mindset is within a lot of these Americans, since America has really never gone through these first world problems that are happening to these other nations, getting bombed and getting nuked. A lot of people think that it's never gonna happen, man. I said a queen and no widow and shall see no sorrow. People think that everything's gonna go well for this place. Which, hey, the Lord's simply saving the best for last. As it says in verse 8, therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall utterly and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For the strong is the Lord power who judgeth her. So just like that, the Lord's going to bring that swift destruction. Peace and safety, then sudden destruction. Ultimately, what? Not only will the Lord put the spirit on these other nations to send his nuclear arsenal, or send their nuclear arsenal upon Babylon the Great. What? Also, his son is coming back. Don't forget that Yahushua is coming back in the midst of all this during World War III to deliver his people from this upcoming destruction within America. That's where the main deliverance will take place. The Lord will be delivering the Israelites, the elect Israelites, from the land of America during World War III, so that they don't be destroyed by this upcoming nuclear destruction. As well as that's exactly when Yahushua will come back to establish righteousness upon earth. Because as we know, the Lord will give us those new perfect bodies. During World War III, the scriptures say how the Lord will come back with many crowns, meaning that he's going to take down these other nations. And the scriptures say how the Lord's coming back to rule over these other nations with a rod of iron. Go ahead and read Revelation chapter 2 and 25, Revelation chapter 19. Those all give you how the Lord will rule over these other nations with that rod of iron, man. Meaning having these other nations, these other countries in complete subjection and setting up his people, the Israelites, over all these other nations. So yeah, America, which is the power of the earth right now currently, that will be the power ship. Don't think that's going to go to China or Russia after America's destruction. No, it's going to go straight to the Israelites, the Israelite nation. And by the way, I'm not speaking about the state of Israel right now, which is occupied by fake people who call themselves the children of the Lord, but really they're just Edomites, really Amalekites, which is the top tribe of the nation of Edom. That's why them Amalekites, those small hats over there in the land, they're the richest people. Why? Because they're their head, they're the chief of the tribe of Edom. They're the chief of the tribe of Esau. So yeah, it says, 2 Ezra chapter 16 and 14. It says, behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. The fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth. Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer, and returning that backward, even so the plagues that should be sent upon it says sent upon earth shall now return again. Exactly. So this will happen. And once these other nations hit that red button, that's it, man. The spirit of the Lord will be flowing through those missiles, and you can't control where they go. They're gonna hit every one of their, each one of their targets, each one of their destinations that the Lord has set up. You might have somebody who's trying to actively control where the nuclear missile is going. Hey, you can't. The spirit of the Lord is gonna completely take over the trajectory of these nuclear missiles, their path. It says Jeremiah chapter 51 and 6. It says, flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord Yahweh's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, the Lord Yahweh's hand, that made all nations, or says, that made all the earth drunken. The nations are drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her, take balm for her pain, and so she may be healed. Yeah, nations are mad. Again, they took the ways of America and they made deals with America, and that is completely, really, that wasn't a good choice. These other nations are seeing that. They're becoming mad. Guess what? The Lord's stirring up his spirit in them to prepare for World War III. It says, verse 9, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone to his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. There you have it. All the things that America has done, the Lord has taken note of that. And the Lord will recompense to America double. Recompense to Esau double for all the iniquities that he has caused upon the earth. It says, verse 10, the Lord Yahweh hath brought forth our righteousness. Come and let us declare in Zion the work of the Lord Yahweh our power. Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord Yahweh hath raised up the spear of the kings of the Medes being the Russians. For his device is against Babylon, to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord Yahweh, the vengeance of his temple. Boom, so it's a vengeance. The Lord's going to repay Babylon, man. The Lord's going to repay Esau for all the works that he has done upon this planet Earth. Starting with America, and the Lord's going to extend that judgment out to the rest of these other nations. The rest of these Edomites, and even onto these other nations, the other heathen. So yeah, man, these Americans and these different American, advocates for America, they can keep boasting and glorifying in their weapons that the United States has and this and that. But hey, the Lord's going to surprise a lot of these people, man. Get in real quick. Yeah, it says, Revelation chapter 19 and 11, I saw heaven opened, and behold, a white horse meaning the chariot, the angelic vehicle that Lord's going to come back, and it's not an actual white horse. It's symbolic unto the power and majesty that this angelic vehicle that the Lord has, that basically he will come in. It says, and he that sat upon him was called faithful and true, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. So the Lord's coming back to make war. He's not coming back to make a unison with all the nations. Nah, man, the Lord's coming back to make war, to take down these other nations and to deliver his people, starting with the elect of the nation of Israel. Skipping down to verse 15, it says, and out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he shall smite the nations, and he shall rule them with the rod of iron. He treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of the almighty power. So in the midst of World War III, the Lord's going to come back. And it says out of his mouth goes a sharp sword, symbolizing the power that the Lord's going to come back with to smite these other nations. He's going to, of course, the Lord's going to use his angels, send his angels upon these other nations, as well as when the Lord delivers us men in the Lord. Of course, the Lord's going to deliver all the elect of the nation of Israel, consisting of the men, women, and children. But you have the prophets, which are the 144,000. The Lord's going to deliver them. And we're going to receive all the elect of the nation of Israel will receive those perfect bodies, but the 144,000 is going to be that governing body. And the Lord's going to send us amongst these other nations to establish rulership. We're going to fulfill the will of Yahweh Shai. That's what we're going to do, man. We're going to fulfill the will of Yahweh Shai, which is to establish righteousness upon the earth. The Lord's going to make us, of course, send us to do that. Ultimately, that's Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai establishing righteousness on the earth. But as we know, the Lord uses others to fulfill his work, because the Lord, he's a king, and the Lord, he is the supreme power. We do his work. So yeah, I believe that's the point. Babylon and Grave will be destroyed. Lord's will, brothers, are the edified. Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, Bashim Kakwadash Brakathum. Shalom.